Hold up. Wait a minute, did I say it was fixed? I thought it was fixed. So I took the car out for a spin to go test it out, and it is a no-go. The car ran fine, sort of fine. I mean, it ran better whenever it was cold. Not cold, but when it wasn't too hot. But once the car reached 180 degrees, it just started sputtering and started doing the same crap all over again. And today I turned it on. Yesterday and today I turned it on, and now even whenever it's cold, it's back to the same thing. It's like I spent all that time and money for nothing. Like, the car's still doing the exact same thing. So this is a little frustrating, you guys. I just want to kind of put this out there so you guys can see what it's like and the things that you may run into. So right now I'm doing a compression test. I had 145 on cylinder 5, 6, 7, and 8. So compression's good on the driver's side head. I'm fixing to do the passenger side. Cross your fingers, you guys. Hopefully this goes well. And I'm gonna do a smoke test, try to see if I can find some vacuum leaks. I really don't know what to do anymore, but we'll see. If I look bad, it's probably because I'm really tired and frustrated, and it's hot. It's like 100 degrees out. But thankfully, compression checked out pretty good. Got 145 on one, 140, 135. This is the lowest one, 140 over here. Then I got 150, 150, 150, 145. So the engine is healthy. So I started to, keep on researching, and I was thinking maybe a vacuum leak could be causing. I mean, a vacuum leak can cause so many random issues. I mean, things that you probably would never imagine. And after changing the TPS, the cam crank sensors, fuel pump, alternator, the tune, the wideband gauge, I've checked and tested and changed everything. So thinking outside the box, there's the best, well, for me, the easiest way to find a vacuum leak is with smoke, because I know people will spray like carburetor cleaner, starter fluid, around the intake manifold, and if the idle raises, there's your leak right there, right? Because it's somehow finding its way into the intake. But this, I mean, I tried that and it didn't do anything. The idle would not change. So I never smoke. I am not a smoker, but anything for Salinas, right? So basically all I did was disconnect the IAC valve, which then that means I'm gonna have a pretty much sealed intake manifold with the exception of the throttle body. So I put a little bag, put some zip ties around it, and it's really tight. These are like the heavy duty zip ties. And from that hose right there, it's this long hose here. What you're gonna do is fill up the intake with smoke. Now, I don't own a smoke machine, so this crap here. Now just watch. I'm blowing the smoke into this thing, into the hose. I don't know if y'all can see, but it's leaking all the way around here. And check out right under the throttle body, the seal. And guess what? That did not work. I'm gonna be bald by the time I fix this car. So all the vacuum leaks are fixed. I resealed the throttle body. I resealed the little plate here for the IAC, and same thing. The car's doing the same thing. But I always try to tell you guys, look at the positive. There's always a positive to a negative. Sometimes it's hard to see it that way, but in this case, if there were some vacuum leaks around the throttle body and around the plenum, that means there was a boost leak. So no more boost leaks, so the car will be faster when it gets back to normal. So yeah, that brought me back to the drawing board. So I started researching some more, and I'm thinking maybe it's a voltage issue. I don't know, maybe at this point it's worth trying anything. And I'm fixing to show you guys something. I know several of y'all asked me you know, why do I do all the work on the cars myself? Well, let me show you. So you guys see these battery clamps? As you can tell, this material is really thick, so you can't squeeze it. This is not a like a crimp style. You have to solder these in, okay? So remember, you guys, this, if you guys ever use them, you have to solder them. Unless you use the crimp ones where you just kind of screw it on there and you put the little fly thingy and you just tighten it down, that's different. This, you're supposed to solder. Check this out. So I was just checking the voltage, and look at this. Do you guys see any solder on that? I don't see any signs of this ever being soldered together. So I was showing my wife about that, and then she asked me, do you think the other one's the same, the ground? And I was like, no, I don't think so. That one seems pretty tight. Nope. Check this out. Huh. That's not good, right? You know what's crazy? The fuel pumps get powered directly from the battery, and obviously there's a switch. The computer goes directly to the battery, obviously the alternator, and then there's this sound system, and then this one right here goes to the distribution block. Oh man. So guess what? I went ahead and ordered some solder. I'm gonna solder it the way it's supposed to, and I don't know, maybe it was a bad connection, maybe it's a bad battery connection, I don't know. So just gotta solder it now. And just to make it clear, I did not install that battery back there. I didn't do any of the wires. All right, so I got the car pushed back away from the house. I don't want to wake up my baby. He just fell asleep. But I got the wires all soldered up to the clamps and put some of that heat wrap, and these things are tight, you guys. They're just not going to fall out. Now, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to fix the issue I'm dealing with now, but I know for sure this is going to help with the issue I've had for the last 7-8 years. Whenever I turn on the lights, the voltage does drop, and you could tell it idles a little bit off, but nowhere near as bad as the issue I'm dealing with now. But let's see what happens. Come on, big girl, please, please, please. Celebrate too early, but this sounds really good. Nope, that was not it. Notice how after I rev it, it'll idle like really good, and then watch, it eventually goes back to idling like crap. Just watch. See, now the IAC valve opens up and it goes lean, and it loses almost all the vacuum. All right, you guys, so man, I hope I can help somebody with all this. So I thought maybe I'm gonna show you guys this little whiteboard that I have where I'm marking all possible causes and I'm checking them off as I'm testing them. And honestly, one of the things that I thought it could be was maybe there's too much resistance on the charging wire from the alternator. This is rig, you guys. This was just me testing it just to see if I saw any changes in the voltage, any changes in the idle, something that registered on the computer, but no. So basically I have these jumper cables, right? So I hooked one up to the power source, basically where I hooked one up to where the charging cable connects to the alternator, and obviously I hit the other one on the ground, ran them back, and power, ground. So that was basically like me adding another ground and another power. Obviously not the best connection, but just to see if there's any sort of change. No change. But I'm not sure if y'all noticed that whenever I revved it up and it came back down, then it basically idled like really smooth until the IAC valve opened. So I'm gonna try to adjust the throttle blade, see if I can open it a little bit so the car can stay idling like that without the IAC valve opening, and see if that does anything. I mean, at this point all I can do is just try anything. Whew, still at it. Man, it's getting dark already. So tried a bunch of wire things. I ran an extra wire from the alternator to the distribution box because I have another pretty thick welding cable from the battery up to the box. That didn't do anything. But right now I disconnected the IAC valve because I mean I keep hearing the valve leaking a lot of air, and I was thinking, well, let me see what happens if I you know, disconnect it, turn on the car with it disconnected, and the car's doing exactly the same thing. I mean, exactly the same thing. There is no difference whatsoever. So that leads me to believe that maybe there's something there. So time to check that out now. So I'm thinking maybe the IAC valve is my issue. Now, whenever I disconnected it, it didn't do anything since the IAC valve was still leaking. I'm not sure if you take the power away from the valve, if it's supposed to remain open or closed. So I just got myself some of these, you know, these pliers here, and I basically snap shut the hose because it's a hose coming from here into the valve right here. It's really dark, you can't see it, but I just snapped it shut, and once I shut it and then I turned on the car, it sounded perfect. So now I'm not gonna keep on digging into more stuff. I'm gonna, and this is what I recommend for you guys. So whenever you find something that may be the fault, don't keep looking for other issues. Research that and test it and find out if that is your issue. If it is not, move on to the next thing. There is no point of you okay, for example, there's no point of you doing this. Okay, maybe the IAC valve is bad, but then I'm gonna go to the TPS, and I'm gonna go to the battery, I'm gonna go to the alternator. Don't do all that at the same time, because if you, let's say you replace everything at the same time, you're not gonna know what the issue actually was. So do one thing at a time. So now the only thing I can do is I'm gonna go inside and research about the IAC valve and see if it's supposed to stay open, because that is completely wide open. I disconnected, I turned on the car, and it's like you hear all the air escaping. So I don't know if that's supposed to happen. So time to research, and I'll get back to working on the car once I find out what exactly is supposed to be going on. Whew, patience. All right, so the car idles fine as long as I snap shut the line into the IAC. So basically what's happening is the IAC is not closing. The IAC should close, but instead it's stuck wide open. I don't even know if it's actually even moving, but whenever I snap the line shut, the car idles perfect. Air fuel ratios are perfect, my voltage is good. So I'm gonna reach out to Fast, and that's the people who designed the computer, and see if maybe I burnt up the IAC driver, because I think I may have disconnected that while the car was running. Not while the car was running with the ignition key on, and they say that that might burn up the IAC driver. So time to reach out to them and see what happens. But let me show you. Super smooth, and watch this. This is the IAC valve. Watch. Starts to leak from here. Now watch this. I think it's the valve.